In this video we'll be going over using files for data storage in C#. So when a program needs to save data for later use, it writes the data in a file. There are always 3 steps for that. Number 1, open the file, which creates a connection between the file and the program. Number 2 is process the file, either write to or read from the file. Number 3 is close the file, disconnect the file and the program. So that's it. In general, there are 2 types of files: a text file, which contains data that has been encoded as test using scheme. These notes from my professor, so these are kind of sometimes the English is broken, so let me just try to fix that here. So a text file, basically there are 2 types of files: a text file, which contains data that has been encoded using Unicode, and the second type of file is a binary file, which contains data that has not yet been converted to text. So binary file again is like pretty much a very low level language, so you cannot view the contents of a binary file with a text editor. So we'll only be working with text files for now. So file accessing: a file object is an object that is associated with a specific file and provides a way for the program to work with that file. So maybe let's just note some of this down here. So I'm just back on the screen. Something happened to the stupid keyboard here. English, Canada, which one is this here? Okay, here, so we have just some notes. So a file object is an object that is associated with a specific file and provides a way for the program to work with that file. Yeah, I won't be able to squeeze that all in there. Okay, so the .NET framework provides 2 classes to create. I don't really need to write all of this, but the .NET framework provides 2 classes to create objects through the system.io namespace. So the .NET framework provides 2 classes to create files through the system.io namespace. So these are stream writer and stream reader. So it's a little bit different than Java and C, I believe, so you can't just call file, which is what usually happens. So there's an extra namespace, there's an extra 2 classes called stream writer and stream reader. There may be actually a stream reader class as well. In Java, I've kind of forgotten. Excuse me. But that's a little advanced. Usually just for basic file operations. You can use just file, like capital F-I-L-E, which is what we'll still be using here, but it's kind of an extra step in C#, so it's a bit more advanced for your file operations. I believe Java has like some stream classes that you can use on top of some basic file classes. Python also has file classes, I think, and C also does as well. So it's kind of a step, pretty much an extra mile just to use file operations, but that's okay. Perhaps that could happen sometimes because there is more specific kind of ways to access code in C#, because for example you have to use namespaces, so it's kind of an extra level above classes as well. So it's a little bit more advanced of a language in that way. Whereas other classes just have other languages just have classes. And for example Python just has like pretty much just source files. I think actually Python does have classes too. We haven't gone over that just because we didn't really need to. But I'll try to get some more of that stuff in later on. So we have pretty much just the kind of Python series 1. I might do a series 2, 1 of 2, so perhaps a half series later on. There's some other stuff that I should get out there though before that. For example, more stuff that you would, because if you're going to go OOP, object oriented, usually you'd want to go with other languages instead, such as C#, C++, Java, but we'll talk about that coming up. So here we can use the StreamWriter class and the StreamReader class. So here actually I'll just divide this into two here, so StreamWriter. So StreamWriter is for reading data to a text file. Sorry, for writing data to a text file. So write means like you're actually writing into the file. Reading means you're basically just getting output. So you can think of writing as input to a file, and you can think of so the stream reader is for reading data from a file, which is basically output. Actually, no, I think I messed it up here. So output is to a file, apologize. And input is taking data from the file. So you can get a little bit confused using those terms. You don't have to use output and input. Sometimes, well, in Python they kind of do. I guess you can. So it's up to you when you're writing. Sorry to confuse anyone. So once again, just to go over that to not confuse anyone. So we have stream writing, which means that we're outputting to a file. And input means we're getting data from a file, or reading in that case. So we have to write this directive at the top of your program. That's such as using system.io. So you have to add that to your code if you want to use I/O. So for example here we'll just have some examples. So first you have to create a StreamWriter object, so you just go stream. We haven't really talked about objects too much. We may have talked about them a little bit, not too much though. So here we have to say StreamWriter output file. We don't have to call it output file, you can just call it StreamWriter file. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it anything. Cloud, You can call it anything you want. Just an example. XYZ, X, O, whatever. You can call it anything. Output file is pretty easy to remember, because you're outputting data to a file, you're writing data to a file. So stream writer output file, you can just declare that. Try to make that bigger. The stream writer output file, perhaps I should have went with the other theme just because the notes are kind of, I mean you can see them but they're not, it's like a plum color on top of a purple color. Maybe I'll just change that because it's not that great. File here, appearance. I'll look for a better one later on. A better theme with better comments. The purple theme is not too bad. It's just the problem with let's try Visual Assist. That's alright. We'll just go with this. So yeah, so now hopefully you can see the comments a little bit better. That theme was a nice theme though. I'll try to look for something close to that with some better comments. Oh, basically here we have stream writer output file. That's declared, so that's an object declaration. So let's just say that object declaration. I may use OBJ for short for object. So stream writer output file. So basically we can use one of the file methods to open the file to which you will be writing data, such as, so you also have to include this. Actually these aren't really examples yet, but just keep these as notes still. So here you'll say, for example, file dot create text. Here you'll say file dot append text. So you can use the write or write line methods to write items of data to the file. Then close the file object at the end. Or basically use the write or write line method to write items of basically strings of data to a file. Excuse me, so close the file at the end. Close the file object at the end. Or the file stream. Well, I think it's actually close the file stream. Close the file stream at the end. Excuse me, so you can think of a stream as like a stream, like a river, or not like you know, like a stream of water, kind of like a river. You can think of like a waterfall streaming into a river. It's kind of like a stream, like a flow. So you're kind of streaming data into the file. That's what it basically means. It's like a stream of water or whatever. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Code example here. We'll have more code examples. So this we may go into 2 parts to these videos. So let's just see what we have here. So sorry. Excuse me. So we had file accessing to start. Okay, so we had writing data to a file. So let's just try an example code here and then we'll come back. trying to teach this from different sources now, not just one. So I might be kind of jumping around from, might take me a little bit longer to do the videos, but I'm just going to see if this is actually more efficient, so we'll just try that. So here we'll just have, we'll do some sample codes. Once again, you have to use the using directive at the top, so we'll say using system.io. It'll take too long to create a console application, so we'll just do it in notes here. So stream writer output file. We're going to declare the object, then we're going to say output file. I think you can do this in one line, but just split it up into two to start. So here we can say output file points to file dot create text, pretty much file dot open, which is pretty, I think open or write. You can play around with it, but this is how the C# docs are teaching it. So of course, so here, oh here you can just, sorry, not course, you just say file.txt. And here you can say output file dot write line, just write some strings here. You can write string 1. So I believe write line includes a new line at the end, so the write line method writes an item of data to a file and then writes a new line character which specifies the end of the line. The write method, on the other hand, writes an item to a file without a new line character, I believe. So then here, so we have output file dot write line string 1. We could just write a bunch of them. Output file dot write line. You can loop it, of course. You can do different things. So string 2, output file dot write line string 3, output file dot write line string 4. Whoops. Then here we just go output file dot close to close the stream. That's pretty much it. That's one way to do it, to write to a file. So let me just see what else we have here. What else we can talk about before we move on. Okay, so we were just going over writing data to a file. That's as far as we went, file accessing and using files for data storage. Okay, so we went as far as writing data to a file. Okay, one sec here, so using files for data storage. Then we went, then we said file accessing. Oops, sorry, just hit the mic. File accessing, okay. So that might actually be pretty much the first part of the file operations in C# tutorials. So in the next video we'll be continuing with the examples, moving on to other file operations. So thanks for watching, guys. If you guys like the tutorial, you can like and subscribe to the channel to support the channel for more programming and investing tutorials, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully, take care.